Filming from Django in 2017, I'm here with Steve at the booth of Cryptozoic, where they are demoing a new game called Train Heist. And Steve is going to tell us a little bit about this game. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thanks. We have a game called Train Heist. As you can see, it is a game of righting wrongs and robbing trains. In this game, we will be playing as a posse of cowboys who are here in this canyon. They are tired of this corrupt sheriff and these rich people traveling to the towns on this train and collecting their dues and their taxes. So we have 5 train carts here, and they all have an arrow on them, and they always go in the direction that the arrows are facing. So if you look up here, you actually see this is the train itself. And on the train we have our mean old sheriff. He'll be stomping around. You'll have to dodge him when you're actually trying to rob the train. And you could do that by running through the carts and actually even climbing up on top of the roof, just like in those westerns that everyone loves. So our 4 players will actually be working cooperatively in this game towards our goal here. And so we actually have this board. It has a sliding scale goal, and there are actually magnets that hold these cool things in. Yeah, so it immediately, like you can see it draws back, and you can turn it, and I really like that feature about it.
Neat.
So you can set a goal based on the number of players. The game designer, he really liked to focus on 2-player and 4-player games, mainly so that you can have a board game that you can play with just a single friend while waiting for a group of friends. So let's say if we were playing a 2-person game, we might set the goal here at the 10, and as we steal our loot, we're going to be turning it in at the towns, and this meter will increase, and when we reach our goal, we win.
So we're stealing money from the thieves. We're stealing the
money
loot back
from these fat cats who are taxing all of the local 4 towns, and the sheriff gets his cut. If we steal the loot back and get it to the towns that they're going to, we will, when they come to pick up the earnings for the month, they'll actually just be picking up their own goods. So they don't know this. This is a smart plan thought up by this posse.
So how do we do that? What actions can we take?
So we have a list of actions here on our turn that we can take, and they can range from anything from moving, calling up your horse and being able to ride your horse. You can actually give up an action on your turn to collect a bullet in your pocket, and these you can use later to discard to gain extra actions. Normally you have 4 actions that you can take from this list. You also have some free actions that you'll at least do once on your turn. Now when you are moving, you'll notice we have, in addition to our 4 colorful figures here, we have horses. Normally to move into each one of these squares, it is going to take 1 action. If you're on a horse, however, you can move much faster. So how do we actually play the game, get around, steal loot? This is an ingenious way. And when you watch the westerns, you see in the saloons, you've got an old cowboy with a cigar and they're playing poker. We actually have a Train Heist poker deck, and it's not like you're used to. There are different symbols. There are no jacks through kings. It's just ace through 10, and of course we have our wilds. During the game, you can use a horse to move in an amount of spaces equal to a card you discard. So if you discard this 8 card, your horse, you can get onto the horse for free. So you could actually move up to 8 spaces. So you can come out of the canyon. If this red player decided to come up out of the canyon, he can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and be ready to jump up onto the train. All of that is 1 action. Normally that would have taken him 5 actions. So let's assume that was 1 action. The second action, he gets off, and that will be an action 2. 3, he moves up onto the train. He will enter the train. Since he entered from the first cart, each one of these is numbered from where he enters. He will be able to climb up here into the front of the train where the cowboy doesn't see him. and he still has another action for the turn. He could climb up, and now he can move across and get past this guy and try to find the loot that he wants. How he gets the loot, again, the cards. I have guns and I have keys and a wild, which can be any number or any suit that I want it to be. If I would like to take this gentleman's loot, it will require 1 key and 1 of the money bag. I do have a key. I don't have a money bag, but I do have a wild. So if I can make it to this cart on the next turn, I can discard these and obtain a loot. That loot will set with me, and my goal in the game is to make it to the next, get off the train safely and make it to the next town before the train does. If I do, I get to place my loot into the square, and then when the train comes by, I will not move this counter down. Now, some of you players may remember playing Pandemic, where we have a self-timer, and each time you fail, you move along your token. So in this case, this is the Hangman's Noose. Each time you fail, another knot on the Hangman's Noose. It's a 3 strikes and you're out system. If you reach here, by failing to return the loot before the train passes, every one of the cowboys are hung in town. So, in this case, having a loot here at Town B, currently on the train's current path, we are guaranteed that we're not going to fail. However, as the train is moving at the end of each player's turn, it will move a number of spaces equal to this train timer. Now, when you play 4 players, you will actually be starting at a higher speed because you have more bandits to work with. If you play only 2 players, you'll start only at 1. However, in this demo, we would be playing 4 players. It would start off with 2. So the train, you'll notice it doesn't have little connectors to drag along the board. However, it was a bright idea. So at the end of the turn, we'll move the last card up, 1 and 2. And so at this point, you'll notice we have now got into this tracker. Now these can be changed by these cards. They can also be changed by the gunslingers. How they get changed by the train is every time they pass over a star, a new card from this deck will be revealed. As you will see here, I've flipped the first card. When we cross the first star, this cowboy, this sheriff, he will move 2 spaces in the direction of the card. So when moving, there are lighter colored circles. They will move between the trains and then into the cart and then into between. So if I wanted to move the sheriff and catch a cowboy all the way down here, he would theoretically need to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to catch me. So running atop the chart is actually a faster and more action economic ability.
Effective?
It's more effective, yes, thank you. Because climbing up here is 1, but now 2, 3, I've made it all the way to the same end with half the actions. So these here, you can give up an action to take them, but they are allotted, they're only 3, and you can save them for a later turn, these bullets like I discussed earlier. So now we also, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the train to cross a star so I can flip the next card and show you what happens. So we've now crossed another one. This actually permanently increases the speed's train. Now we have less time to get to the next town. And although this loot may have been returned, we now have to steal it. No one else has loot. We're going to have to find a cart with the cards in our hand to collect the loot. So let's say the next player, he is this blue player here that we put on the train, and he would like to get a piece of loot and try to get back to the next town. He'll do the same thing as the first cowboy. This is a great hand because we actually have 2 wilds. So he can get either one of these. He would come into the carts and he would try to get the loot. So we would trade out 3 keys and obtain this loot. That was 1 action to move up, 1 action to steal, 2, 3. Now, if he turns in a previously earned token, or if he had a pair that he could discard, he could gain another action. But in this case, we're going to say that he uses the token I just talked about, the bullet in his pocket, for another action. He's on the roof, just like we've seen in the old westerns. He can call his horse to where he's at on the last, and he could jump down onto the horse. So we can move the horse up to the number we discarded.
Very cinematic.
Jumps onto the horse, and now he's done something famous in a cowboy to earn an actual wanted poster. Jumping off of a cart onto a horse actually gives him the nickname. All of these nicknames are thematic to cowboys and outlaws. You'll know Billy the Kid, so it would be your name, the Kid. Now you get to use this for the rest of the game. You earned a new ability. So instead of having to climb up on the cart, you can jump through windows. And they're all unique, and it is a very interesting game.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve, for this introduction of Train Heist. How long does it take to play?
It depends on the number of players. I've had some games as short as 20 minutes. We've had a game last 45 minutes. So somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes is our actual estimate. You can go longer, or you could end up getting hung long before 30 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.